Hello everybody, it's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. Welcome to a new YouTube premiere. Hey, tonight I've got not one, not two, yes, 3 cards to share with you. Guys, these are really fun and simple cards, and got a little bonus to go along with it. You're going to want to stay tuned to hear about that. What is unique about tonight's cards is that they all use the same layout. Guys, layouts are true inspiration mojo. When you're struggling for inspiration and you can find one layout and you can create different cards with it, well, you have found gold, my friends. And tonight, I've got a really great layout. Now, I said I had a little something special for you. I have a special download for you. And guys, this download is absolutely free over at SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'll be talking a little bit more about it in the video, but if you'll look down in the YouTube description, you'll find a link that will take you directly to it. And you know what? I'm feeling a little generous. We're going to make it 2 different downloads. So I have a download for you that has a really great template and layout design for you called Creative Juice. And then I'm also going to have a free tutorial as well. Just sometimes it's nice to have those written tutorials, right? So that you can get busy creating. That's going to be there for you too. So, all right, now tonight is Thursday, July 23rd, and it's 7 p.m. Central Time. If you are on with me live, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Now, we are over in the chat room right now. There's a lot of us over there chatting it up, and I hope that you will join us. This is just such a fun way that we get to talk during the video, where normally when you're live, you don't get that opportunity. So I'm pre-recorded here, but I'm live in the chat box. So log into your YouTube account and you can join me, and all my stamping friends, we're over there talking it up. So join me. Now, if you're watching the replay, wonderful. Welcome. I'm glad you're here as well. I can still chat with you. Just leave me a comment there in the YouTube description. Tell me what you think about tonight's video, and I would love to hear more about your stamping styles and what you like. I am super excited to share tonight's cards. These are going to be a lot of fun, and I think you're going to like how fast and easy they go together. And I'm also going to talk about where I got my inspiration. So if you guys are ready, I'm ready. Let's go over to the stamping table and start to create. All right, I am so excited to get started on our cards tonight, because what is very unique about this evening is that we are going to create one layout, and we're just going to change it up just a little bit each and every time, but the layout kind of remains the same. But before we get started, I have to show you where my inspiration comes from, because inspiration comes everywhere. But look, it actually came straight from the cover of the Stampin' Up catalog. That card really caught my eye, and as you can see, it caught my eye so much so that I decided to recreate it myself. Guys, this card is super easy, and guess what? Just to make it easy for you, I even created a tutorial. So yes, if you'll head over to SimplySimpleStamping.com or look down in the YouTube description, you'll find a link where you can go to the blog post where I will have this free download for you. And that way you'll have the measurements and everything that you need to create this card in particular. But I'm also going to have the information on how to create the other ones as well. So with that being said, I don't want you to worry about jotting down measurements or anything as we go through the video, because all of it's going to be there for you over at SimplySimpleStamping.com. Okay, real quick, I have to show you another freebie that I'm going to have for you when you get over to the website. This is what I like to call Creative Juice. I love to give you a lot of creative opportunities when your juice glass needs a little filling. So this is just another download that you can print off and have whenever you're struggling, that creative mojo just isn't there. Well, I'm going to give you 4 different kind of layouts. It's the same layout, and I think you can see they're just rotated differently. So one layout, one sketch, 4 different ways. Guys, these are fantastic to print out and have on hand. And there is also a tutorial collection too, actually, called Creative Juice Volume 1 and Volume 2. And it is a whole collection of these sketches with cards, with measurements. It's a really great tool if you struggle with that creativity and you're looking for that. So head over there and check that out. But I wanted you to see this one. Now, if you want to find the collection of the tutorials, you can find that. Just look under the blue menu bar for tutorials, and you're going to see Creative Juice Volume 1 and 2, and you can order those there. But this one in particular, you can download for free. Again, there in the YouTube description. All right, who's ready to stamp? We are going to get started. So we're going to start with the card that is on the front of the catalog. And guys, we are going to need some Whisper White thick cardstock for our card base. I have that cut at 4¼ by 11 inches, scored at 5½ inches. I also have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that is 3 by 4. And then a piece of Mango Melody. This is for that sweet little banner that is 1 inch by 4¼ inch. And then the little focal image is in Pool Party. And this I just punched with the rectangle postage stamp punch. But if you don't have that, you can cut it to size. About 1 3/4 by 2 inches approximately. All right, let's get started, guys. This card is so fast and easy. So this card is created with the Lovely You stamp set. This has been one of my favorites lately. Look how easy this card is going to go together. So I'm going to start with the rectangle postage stamp or punch, I should say. It looks like a postage stamp. I'm going to take a Pool Party ink pad and that wonderful floral image. We're just going to stamp this right here in the center. I mean, how easy is that? Now let's come in with a Blushing Bride ink pad. You know, I better bring in some grid paper because I might be stamping off this paper just a little bit. I have a Blushing Bride ink pad and this sweet little floral image, and I am simply going to randomly stamp all around this piece of cardstock. I mean, again, super simple. I want to kind of fill in all the little edges there. That looks perfect. Okay, now let's create a simple little banner flag with that Mango Melody. I'm going to bring in my triple banner punch and push that in as far as it'll go. And that's going to give me a nice little banner. I want the flag going off to the left, and then I'm going to bring in that gorgeous cinnamon cider. Ooh, is this a gorgeous brown? I'm loving this one. Let's take our Just Because, and we will stamp that right there. So to put the card together, we're going to use some of this gorgeous metallic twine or trim. I guess it's metallic trim. This is from the Forever Greenery. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this in a bow. And I think in the tutorial, I told you it's about 16 inches. I like to just leave it on the spool. I just find it a little bit easier to work with. So we're going to tie this in a bow over here on the side. Now, you're probably going to notice this type of trim kind of likes to unravel on the ends, but ooh, let me tell you, it gives a real softness when it does, and I love the look. We're going to make that bow a little bit smaller. We don't want to overpower, so we're going to put that right there. I'm going to slide this way down to the bottom, and let me go ahead and trim that off. All right, let's add some adhesive to the back of our focal image, and I'm going to go right over that trim. I want to kind of try to hold it in place. And then we can run just a little bit this way as well. All right, let's add this to the front of this card. This layout has just been so much fun. You know, I really, honestly, when I started, I thought I was just going to work on one card and I would create this card in particular. And then I just kind of kept going. Okay, now for our little focal image here and our banner, that's just going to barely go over the back. All right, I am going to actually hold that on with some Stampin' Dimensionals because that's what the artist did on their card, and I really am trying to recreate what they did because it was perfect. So, you know, why mess with perfection? So I've got some Stampin' Dimensionals there. I'm going to peel off these backings and add these right over the stamped image and just above that sweet little gold bow. Yeah, it's just going to hang off just a little bit here. Oh, I should have added one more to the top. I thought that seemed a little wonky right there. Let's add one more underneath. There we go. Much better. All right. So now we're going to do one last thing. And you know what? Let me just bring in my original so that you can see. I added some of these gorgeous sequins. These are from the Artistry Blooms sequins. And what I love about them is they're adhesive backed. I mean, don't you love that? You don't have to mess with trying to get it glue or anything like that. And I just added some of those again because that's what Stampin' Up! Did on the front of their card. That one is super easy. Remember, you do have a written tutorial for this one as well. But now let's move on. We're going to create two more cards using this exact same layout. We're just going to change it up a bit. Now, my remaining two cards, I thought we'd have a little fun. Let's create some masculine cards because I know you guys struggle with those just like I do. Let's start with the baby card. I mean, that's something we really need right now. And this one was super easy. We're going to use the buffalo check background. I love this stamp set and I love the look that it gives. Now, for my cardstock, we're going to be using Seaside Spray. This would be 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4.25 inch. And then I also have a piece that is 4.25 by 5.5. And that's what we're going to stamp and die cut. I hope that you guys can see. Can you see all the pretty stitching that's built in right here? Let me show you how we're going to do that. We are going to be using some of those great stitched rectangle dies. Now, I'll have the measurements for these dies over on the website so that you'll know exactly which ones that I use. All right, so for my buffalo check background, I'm going to use my Stamparatus. Sometimes when I'm using the background stamps, I feel a little more confident with this. So I'm going to take that 4.25 by 5.5 Seaside Spray. We're going to put that up in the corner. Now I am going to tell you, I cut this cardstock a little bit bigger and I have that background stamp really shoved in the corner there. But we're going to go ahead and ink this up with some Seaside Spray ink. Yeah, sometimes Stampin' Up! Likes to get us with the tongue twisters, don't they? All right, let's ink this up. All right, we're going to give that a really nice press. And what we're going to do when we're done with this is we're going to come in with that stitched rectangle die. So we didn't have to worry about getting it perfect. We didn't have to worry about getting it straight. But you know what? I think this background is just perfect for a baby card. All right, so I wanted you to see that, yeah, I didn't get the corners because I am right up against that hinge, but not to worry. This is why I said that wasn't important, because I can now come in with the stitch rectangle die, get it set right where I need it. That's why I said if this stamped crooked, it's not going to matter because we're going to have plenty of room to move that die around and get it right where we want it. So let's go die cut this. And there you can see perfectly straight. I have no worries at all. Now we have a couple more stitched rectangles and I'm going to bring in a piece of crumb cake. And this is 4.25 by 2.75. We're going to place both those rectangle dies on there. Let's die cut those. And we're going to use those for our sentiments and that little rectangle that was in the background. All right, there we go. Now we're going to stamp congratulations, and that comes from the Peaceful Moment stamp set. This is an all sentiment set. And you know, what else can you say when somebody has a baby except congratulations? Now I'm going to bring in soft suede for this. I just think soft suede is very, it just goes so nicely, you know, with the crumb cake. Love it. Let's stamp our congratulations right here in the middle. And this card we're going to put together just a little bit differently. We're going to slide it up into the left-hand corner. So let's add the buffalo check background. We can add that right there. Now for our two pieces of crumb cake, we're just going to have those kind of crisscross each other. So let's go ahead right here in the middle of congratulations. I'll add just a little bit of adhesive, get that set. And now we're going to add those dimensionals again. And another trick, I love to put my dimensionals right on a seam. See how it's going to kind of hold that in place? I like that. So let's add one here. I think that should be good. I also love how the buffalo check, because I know it's perfectly straight, I can use the lines in that to line up my sentiment. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit, this is just a ribbon knot that I did with the scallop. Let's see, that's the scallop linen trim. And I love that little scallop, and that's the Seaside Spray. So little glue dot, and we can just press that notch right onto a glue dot. Again, this kind of had, I felt like it just had a real baby feel to it. Thought that was sweet. That can go right there. And guys, lickety split, I am ready now with a baby card. And let me just bring this in just to show you. Still the same layout, just changed it up a little bit. All right, how about one more masculine birthday card? All right, now for this one, let me show you the supplies you're going to need. I'm bringing in the Misty Moonlight cardstock. I love this color. This is cut 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25 inch, and I have some of the matching ribbon. Looks like I've got probably about 6 inches or so of the matching ribbon. Now this cardstock is dark, so I want a little bit of cardstock to go on the inside. So that is Whisper White, 4 inches by 5.25. Now, for the front of the card, we're going to start with some Night of Navy, because again, look how nice that complements, right? Night of Navy, this is 3.25 by 4.25. And then we've got the Playing with Patterns Designer Series paper. And I've cut that just a little bit smaller, 3 inches by 4 inches. Now, the other side of this Designer Series paper is this fun little polka dot. So we're going to use that little bit because when I cut it, I had just a little bit left over. So this is cut 1.5 inches by 2. Yep, and that's just going to give me that nice little kind of that little square, that little kind of pop, that little just a nice little focal image. It's a really fun idea. Now we need our little flag. And that is just another piece of Whisper White, 1 inch by 3.25. Now, my sentiment for this card came from the Pattern Play stamp set. This one is a lot of fun because you've just got some fun little accent pieces in this. And I loved Cue the Confetti. That is a great one for the guys. And then the inside, I'm going to use Fill the Day with All Your Guilty Pleasures. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and do our stamping. And my sentiment is going to be in Coastal Cabana. But you know what? I think I'm going to punch this before I stamp. And for this one, I'm going to use the Delightful Tag Topper. Now, if you have some of the other tag toppers, that's going to work fine too. I just wanted to have a hole here up at the top of the tag because that's what my ribbon's going to slide into. So, and you notice on this punch, there's actually just like a little notch. So you know exactly where to slide your cardstock so that it is going to punch perfectly center. We like that. Okay, so this time I think I'm going to have the flag going to the right. So let's do our stamping in Coastal Cabana, and we'll do that right there in the center of that flag. Perfect. I love that color. It's time for a Connie trick. So I have these little edges, and I thought they were just a little bit harsh. I've shared this tip with you before. This is a nail buffing file. You can get these just about anywhere. You can even order them on Amazon. You can use just a regular nail file too. I just really like these little buffing blocks. But do you see the difference between the two edges? I simply just ran that buffing block over that edge of the cardstock. And look, I now have a nice smooth edge. Let's do that over here as well so we don't have those harsh edges. It's a great way to get rounded edges on your cardstock if you don't have a punch. And sometimes you might have a punch and it might round the edges a little too much. And these little sanding blocks are a lifesaver in your stamp room because look how much nicer my tag looks now. Yeah, there you go. Extra tip for you today. All right, let's take that ribbon. We're going to fold it in half, and then we are going to slide that through the hole of the tag at the folded end. And now we can just run the two loose ends through, and we're going to create a wonderful, just little ribbon tag. Isn't that cute? We can trim these down a little bit. We'll do that when we get to the end so we can see what we need to do. All right, so now let's adhere our Designer Series paper to our Night of Navy. It almost pains me to put adhesive on that pretty purple polka dotted side because I love me some polka dots. All right, but I like these stripes too, and I do like how masculine they are. Now, this is going to go right here, but remember what we've been doing, and we've been adhering the tags onto that backing. Let's do that, and I'll simply just add a little bit of adhesive there I will add my flag. Now we're going to come in with Stampin' Dimensionals. And remember, we like to get the seams. I am going to add one more right up here. I want to make sure that my flag is not too loose. And add that. Throw the backings on the floor just to irritate my dog because she ends up with them on her nose. All right, let's add our tag. Okay, now I am going to bring in my original because I want to show you this background. I hope that you can see the detail in that background. That is a brand new embossing folder, and it is called Tasteful Textures. I love to add texture to cardstock. It's gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Misty Moonlight cardstock. Let's put that into the embossing folder. Let's go run that through and get some great texture. And then you can see when you put the card together, you get that great texture. Now you notice I did add some rhinestones. Let me show you. Those are actually from, wait for it, the holiday rhinestones. Oh my gosh, I know it's not the holidays, but look at that gorgeous navy color. And I thought that added not bling. We don't want to add bling to a masculine card, but it sure added great texture without looking too girly, don't you think? Let me also show you the inside of the card. And this, I just did a little bit of stamping. The polka dots and the little stars come in that stamp set. Now you may notice I did this one a little bit different. I did my cardstock 4¼ by 11 inches and scored it 5½. So I wanted to show you that you have some options on the direction you want your card to go. So this one I thought we'd change it up. Let's go ahead and bring all our gorgeous cards back in so that you can see them. I just think they are super simple, really fun. And what I love most is that you have a great download so that you can be inspired yourself. Remember, these images can be anything. These flags can be anything. Get creative with what you have. Don't ever underestimate the power of casing your catalog. Casing stands for copy and share everything. We love for you to case what you see here on simplysimplestamping.com. We love for you to case the things that you see in the catalog. And casing doesn't mean you have to be exact, because just like I did here, I took one design, one layout, and I just simply changed it up. I hope that you guys enjoy the cards tonight. Oh, isn't it fun to just kind of have one simple idea and several different ways to do it? Like I said, it's called casing. Copy and share everything. I always encourage you guys to use what you see here on my YouTube channel and on my website, and use that inspiration to create for yourself. These are really fun cards. Now, don't forget to head over to simplysimplestamping.com or look down in the YouTube description for the link so that you can download those 2 free downloads. Remember, I have a tutorial for you, and I have that Creative Juice layout for you. Oh, but don't forget, there is the Creative Juice Volume 1 and 2, and that's a huge collection with all those sketches, and it's got card designs, and it's got the measurements, everything that you need. It's been a really, really popular download, and you'll find that in my tutorial store, so be sure to check that out as well. All right, my friends, if you enjoy the cards tonight, would you give me a thumbs up on YouTube? I always appreciate that. And remember, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Click that great big red subscribe button up there in the corner. Be a subscriber so that YouTube will let you know whenever I, Connie Stewart, am back with another video, because I would love to have you join me. Well, that is all for me this evening, guys. Thank you again so much for being here. I hope you go create something wonderful this week. Have a terrific night. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.